So one thing to be aware of is that as you invest in a bank or a financial institution, generally they pay you interest when you deposit money into an account. So you're basically giving your money to a bank, you're loaning your money to a bank, and they're going to pay you interest. They don't typically pay you a lot of interest, but they do pay you interest. However, they also will charge you fees or service charges because they will provide different services that go along with your bank account. So there may be some insurance components to it. You may be transferring funds from one bank to another. You might be withdrawing money from different ABM machines around the world. If you have NSF checks or not sufficient funds, let's say you wrote a check for $1,000, but you only have $800 in your bank account, the check bounces, and so you get charged, an extra 20 or 25 bucks for making that happen. Okay, and you also have to pay extra money usually at this point if you want your statements to be on paper instead of just done on the web. So for one example, and again, some different options here, and one of the reasons why I wanted you to explore different type of bank accounts at different institutions. Let's say you've got option one. So you pay $10.25 per month for the first 12 transactions that you make in a month. So, and again, a transaction is any time money goes in your bank account or is coming out of your bank account. Okay, so for the first 12 transactions, the first 12 transactions are free, but you have to pay $1.50 for each additional transaction that's made. Okay, so if you were to graph this, or if you came up with an equation, let's say that your cost would be $10.25. Okay, no matter what happens, you can make 0 extra transactions. You have to pay this $10.25 no matter what, plus 1.5 times t, where t is the number of transactions over 12. Okay, so as soon as you make that 13th transaction, now you're starting to pay additional fees. Option number 2 is $25 a month for an unlimited number of transactions. Okay, so it doesn't matter, you can make 1,000 transactions or 1 transaction, you pay $25 per month in option 2. So let's take a look here at this bank fee example. So let's say Amy's paid bi-weekly by check. So bi-weekly means 2 times per month. Okay, so she also uses her debit card 4 times per week. There's 4 weeks in the average month, so that means 16 times per year. Sorry, 16 times per month. So we want to figure out which banking option above would be most beneficial for Amy. Well, if she chose option 1, then her total cost would be $10.25 plus 1.5 t. Okay, so let's figure out how many transactions are there in this month. So she has 16 transactions based on her debit card. Okay, so 4 times per week, 4 times per month, and 2 payments. So 16 times 2, that's 18 transactions in total per month. Okay, but we know that in option 1, the first 12 transactions are free. So if I do 18, so let's do 18 minus 12, it's going to leave me with 6 transactions that need to be accounted for. Okay, so these 6 transactions are extra transactions. So let's substitute now into our equation. So cost is going to equal 10.25 will equal 10.25 plus 1.5 times the number of transactions she's got to pay above 12, and there's 16. She's paying for transaction 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so let's go through and do the bedmiss. We got to do the multiplication piece first. So 1025 plus 1.5 times 6, that's 9. And if we add those two things together, her total cost is going to be $19.25. Okay. If she chooses option 2, her total cost is $25. Okay, because in option 2, it's $25 for an unlimited amount of transactions. She could make 0 transactions or she could make 1,000 transactions. Doesn't matter. Okay, so in this instance, for Amy, option 1 makes the most sense because it's cheaper. Okay, she saves the most money with option 1. Okay, but let's suppose that Amy is going to use option 1. How much would she have to pay in monthly service charges? Well, actually, we just did this question. In monthly service charges, we've got it here. So her final cost would be $19.25 on average. Okay, because she makes 18 withdrawals. So the first 12 are free, and she's got to pay for 6 of the additional transactions. Okay. So let's go to part C. If Amy's monthly service charges is $14.75, how many transactions does she make? All right, so we have a formula that we can use. So we know that our formula is C is equal to 1025 plus 1.5 T. If we know what the value of C is, that's what this piece is, then let's substitute that piece in. So 1475 is equal to 1025 plus 1.5 T. So I want to get that 1.5 T all by itself, which means I have to strip away the 1025 that's on the right-hand side of the equation. So I'm going to subtract 1025 from both sides, and I'm going to get 1.5 T is equal to 1475 minus 1025. So 1.5 T, so 1475 minus 10.25 is going to equal 4.5. So 4.5 is equal to 1.5 T. To get T all by itself, I have to divide both sides by 1.5. So T is going to equal 3. Okay. Now we know that T is the number of transactions over 12. Okay. So if there's a T value, then we know that she's got to have at least 12 transactions. So in this case, the total transactions is going to equal 12 plus 3 for a grand total of 15 transactions. Okay. So the second question there, it says, the last question says, how many transactions per month would Amy have to make so that option 2 was the best choice? Okay. So option 2 costs $25 per month. Okay. So if we want to figure out, well, how many transactions would she have to make in order to get up to 25 transactions, or to have her cost be $25 or more with option 1, let's substitute $25 in for that. Okay, so we know with option 1, oh, that's terrible. We know that with option 1, the formula is C is equal to 10.25 plus 1.5 T. If we substitute in our value of $25, so $25 is going to equal 10.25 plus 1.5 t, I can then figure out how many transactions I would need in total. So again, I'm going to subtract 10.25 from both sides. It's going to leave me 1.5t, and 25 minus 10.25, because I'm going to subtract it from both sides, it's going to leave me 1475. So I want to get t all by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 1.5. So t is going to equal, it says 9.8. Now, you can't actually have 0.8 of a transaction, so I'm going to bump this up. I'm going to round it up to 10. Okay, so I know that if there's a t value, just like we had at the top, that means that the total number of transactions is going to be 12 plus t. It's going to equal total. So 12 plus 10 is going to equal 22 total transactions. So what we've determined is that when she needs, or if she needs more than 22 or more transactions per month, she should go with option 2. Okay, so if she needs 22 transactions or more, then option 2 is cheaper. Okay. So there we've gone through taking a look at how to calculate and compare different investment options if you're investing into a bank.